Hello students, today we will start the second paper, that is plant embryology of your syllabus of BSc semester 4. In the plant embryology we start to study from the first topic, that is the structure of a typical flower. As you know, the angiosperms means the flowering plants with more than 2,20,000 different species assigned to 300 to 400 families, occupy a very wide range of ecological habitats and constitute the most highly evolved and dominant floras on earth. One of the most characteristic features of angiosperms is the formation of their reproductive organs in the form of flowers. Though the reproductive organs of some gymnosperms, for example Ephedra, Netum, etc., are also called flowers, the angiosperm flowers are characterized by the presence of carpels terminating in a stigma and the ovules enclosed within the ovary. Morphology of flower. A flower has been defined as a modified shoot specialized for the function of reproduction in the higher plants. Most of the angiosperms produce bisexual, means perfect flowers containing functional male and female parts, while others produce unisexual, means imperfect, that is the staminate, means male, and pistillate, means female flowers on different individual plants. Example, date palm. Also some monoecious species produce staminate and pistillate flowers at different positions along a single stem. Example, maize. There are endless variations in the type of flowers. A flower is a modified condensed shoot specialized to carry out sexual reproduction in the higher plants. Like a branch, it arises in the axil of a small leaf-like structure called bract. The terminal part of the axis of a flower, which supports all the floral appendages, means sepals, petals, stamens, and carpels, is called receptacles or thalamus or torus. The receptacle consists of several crowded nodes which are separated by condensed internodes. The internode of the branch, that lies below the receptacle is called the pedicel. A bract is usually situated at the base of pedicels, but sometimes a small leaf like a or two small leaf like structures are present in the middle of pedicel. They are called the bracteoles. A typical angiospermic flower consists of four whorls of floral appendages attached on the receptacle called the calyx, corolla, androecium, and gynoecium. Out of these, the two lower whorls means the calyx, that is this, corolla, that is this, are sterile and considered as non-essential or accessory or helping whorls, while the upper two whorls, that is the androecium and gynoecium, are fertile and considered as essential or reproductive whorls. So now, students, we start from the first whorl along with its function. That is the first, that is the calyx. The calyx, it is the outermost whorl of floral leaves. The individual leaf segment of calyx is called the sepal. Sepals are usually green in color, but in some species they are colored like petals. Such a condition of calyx is called the petaloid. Petaloid. Usually they are protective in function and protect the other floral parts in bud conditions. They prevent rapid transpiration from the inner parts of the flower. They may fall immediately after the flower open or may remain persistent, example brinjal, and protect the developing fruits. Sometimes they may attract the insects when they are variously colored. They closely resemble the leaves because each of them possesses three leaf traces. Modification of calyx in some perform special functions, example pappus in dispersal, spinous in protection, etc. Sometimes nectaries are present below calyx that attract pollinators, whereas in some sticky glands keep herbivorous animals away. Green calyx performs the function of the photosynthesis. Next wall, that is the corolla. The corolla is the second wall of floral leaves that arise inner to the calyx. The individual leaf of corolla is called petal. Petals are generally brightly colored and sometimes fragrant, which make the flower to become attractive. Petals usually attract the insect pollinators and help in the pollination. The petals and sepals together form the floral envelope. Shape, size, and various other devices in corolla regulate the entry of the pollinators. The floral envelope, including both calyx and corolla, is called perianth, and an individual member of the perianth, when sepals and petals are not clearly differentiated, is called tepal, T-E-P-A-L. The third wall, that is the androecium. The androecium is the third wall of floral appendages that is present inner to the corolla. The individual appendage is the stamen, represents the male reproductive organ. Each stamen consists of anther, that is the anther, and filament, this is the filament. Usually anthers are bilobed and contain 4 microsporangia or pollen sacs, but sometimes they have only one lobe and 2 microsporangia. The portion of stamen which connects the anther and the filament is known as the connective. Wall of anthers also aid in dispersal of pollen grains. Later on germination, pollen grains produce male gametes. The fourth or last word, that is the gynoecium or pistil, that is this. Gynoecium is the fourth and the last word of floral appendages or carpels. Each carpel resembles a leaf in having 3 vascular traces. Gynoecium represents the female reproductive organ of the plant or the flower and consists of 3 distinct parts. One is the ovary, that is this. Ovary is the basal swollen part of carpel or the gynoecium, which bears one or many ovules. Next, that is the stigma. It is the receptive spot which lodges the pollen grains. Third, that is the style. It is a connection between stigma and ovary. Style carry the stigma high above the flower to increase the effectiveness of receiving pollen grains. Ovary contains ovules, produce eggs in embryo sac. Ovule in the helps the pollen tube to enter in the embryo sac, and finally in the fertilization of male gametes with the egg. Seeds remain protected inside the ovary or the fruit. Seed provides protection and nourishment to embryo. Next, students, that is the flower a modified shoot. The most widely accepted view regarding the morphological nature of the flower is the classical concept, which stemmed from Goeth's in 1790 theory of metamorphosis. According to this view, the flower is homologous to the vegetative shoot, and the lateral appendages of the flower, means sepals, petals, stamens, and carpels, are morphologically equivalent to the foliage leaves. Are morphologically equivalent to the foliage leaves. Next, according to the Thorne, Thorne, in 1963, a proponent of the classical concept, the primitive angiosperm flower consisted of an axis with numerous discrete and spirally arranged strile as well as fertile appendages. Strile means sepals, petals. Fertile means stamens and carpels. From this primitive type of flower, all angiosperm flowers are considered to have evolved by modification or the reduction of various components. The appendages of some primitive flowers so many resemblances with foliar leaves in their initiation, development, and vasculature. Students, the shoot nature of flower can be explained by the following facts. First, that is the homology of floral buds. The floral bud is identical to the vegetative bud. The flower bud is identical to the vegetative bud in its origin, though different in its outward appearance. This is supported by the 2 points or 2 facts. One is the position, second is the modification. Position, according to the position, floral and vegetative buds both occur in axillary or terminal in positions. Next fact, that is the modification. In plants agave, Allium stivum, the floral buds are sometimes modified into vegetative buds or bulbils. This indicates reversion of floral buds to the original structure, means the vegetative buds. Second, that is the axis nature of thalamus. Axis nature of thalamus. The thalamus or the receptacle of the flower is an axis bearing floral appendages. Since it is highly compressed, distinction between nodes and internodes is lost. Means it is highly compressed and distinction into nodes and internodes is lost. The nodes bear floral leaves or floral appendages, that is the sepals, petals, stamens and carpels. Internodes being very much shortened or reduced. So all the floral leaves or appendages appear to arise at the same level. The shoot nature of thalamus is evident according to the following facts. One is well developed internodes. Well developed internodes. In this case, means well developed internodes. In floral axis, the internodes are usually very much compressed or reduced, but in Caparis, Gynandropsis, Passiflora, well developed internodes are present between corolla and androecium, that is this. And it is termed the androphore, ANDROPHORE. And androecium and gynoecium, means between the androecium and gynoecium, that is this, termed the gynophore, GYNOPHORE. Next, that is the monstrous development, MONSTROUS development, monstrous development. The growth of the thalamus usually terminates after the formation of last floral leaves, that is the carpel. But sometimes thalamus continues to grow, as you seen here students, continues to grow even after producing floral leaves, and then produces ordinary foliage leaves, that is this. Example, rose, larkspur, etc. Third, that is the elongated thalamus. In some primitive families like Magnoliaceae and Annoniaceae, carpels bearing region of the thalamus elongates like an ordinary stem, like an ordinary stem during the formation of aggregate fruits. Example: Michelia champaca, Polyalthia longifolia. Third, that is the leaf-like nature of floral organs. Some examples indicate that the floral leaves or floral appendages like sepal, petals, stamens, and carpels are homologous to foliage leaves. One is phyllotaxy. First, that is the phyllotaxy. The arrangement of floral leaves on the thalamus is similar to that of foliage leaves on the stem. Next, estivation. The estivation of floral leaves is similar to prefoliation of foliage leaves. Third is foliar nature of sepals. Example: in member of the Rubiaceae family, one of the sepals, that is this, one of the sepals in one or more flowers of an inflorescence becomes large, brightly colored, and leaf-like. In one of the member of Ranunculaceae, there is a gradual transformation of leaves to bracts, sepals, and petals. Fourth, that is the transition of floral leaves. In water lily plant, there is a gradual transition from sepals to petals, from sepals to petals, and petals to stamens, and stamens to carpels. In the wild rose, there are only 5 petals, while in the cultivated rose contains or consisting numerous petals. It is presumed that during the course of evolution, stamens have transformed into petals. Similarly, in hibiscus or China rose, also some of the stamens have transformed into petals. In Zinnia, some of the stamens and carpels become diploid, petaloid, or saploid. Similarly, in Canna plant, there are petaloid stamens and style. Students, the topic of flower is a modified shoots and function of various flowers, floral parts. Flower a modified shoot and functions of various floral parts is finished in this video, and in the next video we start the next topic of the embryology, plant embryology. Thank you.